Cyberpunk 2077 is a game that is difficult to either talk or have a genuine discussion about. Not necessarily because of the broken launch that caused controversy, but because when you say the game is good now, you're ridiculed for your opinion. Mostly from the people that have never played the game and leech off of opinions from their peers. This isn't a jab at those people at all, it makes sense. It is smart to take the majority of people's word and be scared to spend money on a game in this economy only for you to be surprised that the game doesn't run like advertised. I ran into this. Multiple big name YouTubers came out with reviews warning people to not buy or pre-order the game because of the broken mechanics, glitches, and game-breaking bugs. I bought it anyway because I typically am more resistant to bugs, but even this got to me and had me questioning my purchase. Multiple times I had hard crashes that restarted my computer, bugs that broke quests or soft-locked my game, but I pushed through. I wanted to get my money's worth. This is when Cyberpunk 2077 turned the corner for me, when I realized the game was special. The interesting and deeply personal quests that you embark on, the characters that makes you feel genuine emotion, sometimes to the point where the emotion boils over into smiles, tears, laughs. Other times it leads to sadness and depression of the choices you made at the end game. I understand why people drop this game, I really do. But to those people who disliked the game, or never got around to finishing and are not willing to pick it up again, maybe this video is for you. To take a deep look at characters, quests, and the emotions that you feel when interacting with them. Hopefully then your opinion can change. Maybe like me, it will change your view on gaming as a whole and how stories are told. Better yet, it may change you as a person. It is well known that Cyberpunk released way too early. Probably a couple years too early, unfortunately.
So yeah, the patch came out and it was supposed to fix a lot of major issues.
And this is where more tricks or illusions come into the actual game design.
So the reality is that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be buggy when you play it. Nothing will stop that now. The question becomes, how buggy is it? And are those bugs so disruptive that they would ruin your experience?
We all know the story of last-gen consoles barely running the game, Cyberpunk being taken off the PlayStation Store, all the memes of cars flying everywhere, the potato graphics, pedestrians not reacting to a gun aimed at them, and cops spawning out of thin air to go after you. It is a huge question in the industry as to why they decided to release the game instead of consulting with shareholders and explaining how the game is nowhere near done. It is better to take the loss up front and possibly release a better game and not have a huge fallout. We see this too much in the industry. Have we not learned from Fallout 76? It is such a far cry from the E3 demo that was shown that looked awesome, with a cool backstory for V, better character creation, and better dialogue options to emphasize the RPG elements. So why exactly did everything, I guess, crash and burn? Aside from the obvious, I think the main issue with Cyberpunk 2077 at launch was the tug of war between the game being a traditional RPG that CDPR is known for, or a narrative action-adventure game that prioritizes telling an engaging story. They realized they may not have enough time to create a full-fledged RPG of this magnitude that they wanted, so they decided to scale down. My theory is this caused massive story cuts or additions that affected gameplay, systems, and so forth. During the gameplay reveal, it kind of proves this. They wanted to do so much more. For instance, during character creation, you can choose the actual background of your character instead of the different life paths we got in the released version. Admittedly, the Lifepath systems were very shallow, with it only taking about 20 minutes to an hour of the game. It feels put together during the final moments of development. I think this was the product of the backgrounds not being anywhere near finished towards release. They had to scale down. Same with the third-person perspective. I do think this was an artistic choice to a certain degree, but I also think they didn't have enough time to polish the third-person perspective and its cutscenes. They thought it smarter to focus that attention elsewhere, which we all saw was very much needed. They had to scale down. There were so many other things that just had to be excluded for the sake of scaling down the vision because they were running out of time. The call camera background, muffled gunshot takedowns, the one-night stands, the fact that Johnny Silverhand in the demo died a year prior to the main story, and attacking missions in various ways.
Are you here alone?
The Corpos have hacked us through our personal link and have subjected us to a kind of lie detector program. The dialogue system in Cyberpunk 2077 is fully gameplay driven.
I asked if you came alone.
Yep, just little old me.
She's lying.
Search the area.
When you can ask Jackie to cover you when you talk with Stout, compare that to what we have now. It is a big difference.
All set.
Now answer my questions. Honestly, forthrightly. Are you here alone?
Yep, just little old me.
It's the truth.
It's not possible to understand what might have been. Maybe the game would have been better with more competent RPG elements, or if it played more like GTA 5. But maybe not, and I think that's what people don't understand. Just because the game could have been something else doesn't mean that it would have been the right decision. I also think loads of people took everything the wrong way during the press run of Cyberpunk. So many people I know bought this game because they wanted the next GTA killer. In my opinion, this caused the hate to grow so much larger than it should have been. If we take a look at Fallout 76, that game had a much worse launch than Cyberpunk. Broken textures, broken quests, broken multiplayer, and it's paywalled to shit. But that game didn't get taken off the PlayStation Store. That game still had a hardcore following. So why was it treated differently? Because people expected an MMO light from Bethesda? Most likely. People knew what type of game they were buying. Once you start to look at Cyberpunk as a narrative-dense action-adventure instead of a GTA-styled RPG, that's when the light switch gets flipped. And this is where the comeback of Cyberpunk comes into play. Once the updates started coming out, getting the bugs ironed out, new graphics updates, relationship updates for characters, and so forth, eventually leading up to the release of Phantom Liberty, this is when people started to realize that this game is greater than what meets the eye. A game where you feel a personal connection with its characters, its storyline, a game that teaches you life lessons. Lessons about what's actually important. I think it took me until the moment of 2.0 that this game wasn't about living the fantasy of being in the cyberpunk world, getting nice futuristic cars, or getting cool implants for my V. It was about the characters and the stories they tell. It was about understanding the nuances of the game with each decision you make and how it affects you. It made me realize that Cyberpunk was always a masterpiece. You can get bug fixes, you can get updates that add more gameplay systems, but what you can't update is a narrative. You can't flip-flop. You're stuck with what you're told. Cyberpunk knew this and succeeded tremendously, maybe even one of the best stories ever told in gaming. We all know of the infamous Lifepath system where you choose between Street Kid, Corpo, or Nomad, with these Lifepath systems having a different starting point that maybe lasts an hour and eventually converges to a main starting point for the game after this prologue. I'm in the minority when it comes to the prologue. I think there is a deeper meaning to this that was intentional, and it serves a greater purpose than just having a background for your V. Each of these life paths are how every single person finds himself in the heap of shit that is Night City. Each promises riches, fame, sex, rock and roll, love, and freedom. As a corpo, you are already at the top, but fighting tooth and nail to stay alive in the line of work. Always looking over your shoulder, wondering if your coworker is going to stab you in the back and bury you 6 feet under. And with that happening, you find a new life with Jackie, a life that promises a possibility of being the best in Night City. As a nomad, you left your clan because of differences in the family, driving towards Night City for a new life with heaps of opportunities, meeting Jackie because of a job that was given to you. And as a street kid, you already know Night City from the back of your hand. Growing up on the streets of Haywood, understanding what Night City is really like, but with the expectation of making it to the big leagues one day. As you can see, each life path is promising the same thing: fame, riches, and everything in between here in Night City. Just like the player is expecting. They're expecting things here to be awesome, or we can make a name for ourselves, or we can do whatever we want, buy whatever we want, and just go till our heart's content. And this keeps progressing when we spend time with Jackie, our best friend. We get a huge opportunity with Dexter Deshawn, promising the thing we've been looking forward to this entire time, but only once we get inside of Konpeki Plaza and go through with the job is when things take a turn. You see Patricide with Yorinobu Arasaka offing his own father. You see the job go wrong and having to slot the relic you've been needing to steal in your own head after Jackie passes away.
Jackie, don't close your eyes.
Misty, she knew. She always knew. The biochip. Hold on to it. For me.
but you don't know the consequences. When you can fight through countless people and you sit in the car seeing your best friend bleed out in front of your eyes, knowing he's about to die, and when he does pass, you have to confront the man who gave you the job in the first place, who ultimately stabs you in the back and dumps you in a landfill. Cyberpunk 2077 teaches the player that Night City is not what it seems. Night City chews you up and spits you out infinitely worse than when you came in. There is no opportunity here, only pain, death, and sacrifice, and only rewards the corporations that control the daily lives of everyone that lives in the city. The game immediately shifts your expectations. This isn't going to have a happy ending. This isn't going to be a stroll and a laugh. This is going to be a game where lessons are taught to you, where you will take the relationships you forge to heart and will drop whatever you're doing just to do that quest with them, where you'll get tangled in a narrative that has its somber, slow, and sweet moments and rips your heart out the next. This is when the game shows its true self. V is brought back to life by the chip they stole, only to find out they're getting pushed out of their own mind by none other than Johnny Silverhand. The player is faced with a situation of certain death. It is only a matter of when, not if. The game gives you a subtle choice that isn't shown to you by a dialogue or gameplay. It's a choice that Dexter Deshawn asks in Act 1, before the whole heist goes down.
Would you rather live in pieces, Mr. Nobody, die ripe, old, and smelling slightly of urine, or go down for all times in a blaze of glory, smelling near like posies, without seeing your 30th?
This is where your V is. What do you do with your life knowing you have limited time left in the world? The game hits a crossroad of sorts. You have the option of just taking the easy way out and let Johnny do what he pleases with your body. Or do you fight to see another day and try to find a way to get rid of the chip in your head? It goes without saying that you don't really have a choice here, because there needs to be a game to play. It's sort of an introduction of urgency to not necessarily find a cure as fast as you can, but to live out your days fighting. I honestly think this is what most reviewers of this game don't understand. Way too many times do you hear them say the sense of urgency doesn't match the pacing of the game. Instead, they shouldn't take it at face value. Rather, that the writers were trying to tell you that everything you do from now on is life and death. It's serious. Are you going to trust the first person you come across with your life, which is the fastest way to complete the game? Or are you going to take a methodical approach and squeeze every ounce of life you can from V in order to be able to weigh out your options in a methodical manner? Speaking of this, you get 3 paths you can go down in terms of how missions are structured. First, you have the main quest that involves Takemura and Arasaka. I call it the main quest because if you complete these quests, it's a straight shot to the end of the game. Second, you have Panam's questline that involves the Aldecaldos. And third, you have Johnny and Rogue. All 3 of these quest lines will have a significant effect on the ending you will receive. Judy, Kerry, and River's quest lines are a weird one to cover because technically their quest lines don't lead to an ending. Rather, they support the other endings. I will cover these, so don't worry, but we will get to the main stories after we talk about the most important thing in Cyberpunk 2077, its characters. It's a disservice not to talk about Night City and its music. It's its own character. From the high-rise skyscrapers that you can see in the distance to the hills where only a handful of people can live, each district feels alive and has personality. Japantown, bustling with Japanese food stands, architecture, and even has its own mission dedicated to it. Haywood, where the Valentinos prosper, and where you start your journey as Street Kid V. Haywood, you have to look around at every corner or else you may get jumped or see a body in a dumpster. And don't forget the Badlands, where the nomads roam. A huge open desert that you play in and even encounter some crazy places along your journey. Everywhere you go, you'll see something unique. And that's what I love about Night City. It may look samey in the distance in the hills of the Badlands, but once you get inside, you see the difference. From the mega buildings to Westbrook on Charter Hill. What adds to the experience is just vibing and cruising around the city listening to the radio. It's a whole ass vibe. Songs like I Wanna Stay at Your House, Never Fade Away by Samurai, my favorite song of the bunch, Afterlife by Ty McGrath and Just Cosplay Sings, and of course, Pon Pon Shit by Us Cracks. It really is a whole ass vibe wandering around Night City with the radio blaring late at night with some LEDs on. It genuinely makes you feel immersed and has you take in the city. It may be awful deep down, but on the outside, it's gorgeous. The important part though is the game's score. Whenever a crazy moment happens or something sad and the music crescendos, it gives you goosebumps. It elevates your heart rate or slows it down. You will either have a smile on your face or your face will be full of tears from just the music. I remember vividly, and I believe it's part of the unreleased soundtrack, certain songs have a cello mixed in. And whenever that cello plays, it pierces your soul with dread. It gives you a pit in your stomach in a fantastic way. The path of Takemura, Hanako, and the Arasaka Corporation is one that directly leads to the end of the game without having to do any other quest. I found this interesting, but there is a specific reason for this, and now we'll get to it later. To start off, V has his first real and genuine conversation with Takemura, and right off the bat you can tell the trust barrier is awfully large. Lots of hesitations, possible lies, and V tries to leave a few times because, for one, the guy used to be a personal bodyguard to the Arasaka family. Corpos are not to be trusted in Night City. Even for someone who has never been introduced to Night City before this game, they understand this. What interested me the most about this questline of all things are the different allegiances in the Arasaka Empire. Not one sole person in the Arasaka family has the full loyalty of everyone under them. There are different factions involved, some with Hanako, some with Yorinobu, and some with Saburo. Takemura is loyal to Saburo. This means he doesn't buy the lie that Yorinobu has conjured up and wants justice. This leaves things in an even weirder way for V and the player. Understanding what he just said, Takemura and V have a possible beneficial relationship with each other based on their goals. V wants contacts within Arasaka that can help with the biochip. Takemura wants the same contacts but is trying to get enough evidence to incriminate Yorinobu for patricide. The common denominator here is that they can both help each other out, and that person that can help both of them is Anders Hellman and Evelyn Parker. Hellman is the creator of the biochip, and we all know about Evelyn. What makes the relationship with Takemura work so well is the fact that he is so untrustworthy because of his affiliations. Yet, he's likable. His allegiances, likes, dislikes are on full display here, but not behind the mask of evil corpo bullshit that V would think. He is just a slave with blind loyalty. He hasn't been anywhere else but Arasaka. He was only shown one side of the coin, and I don't think you can blame a person for this. This clashes so well with perspective that Johnny gives you directly after this conversation. He despises Arasaka and thinks Takemura is just another corpo douchebag. From here, we fast forward to the retrieval of Anders Hellman after the mission with Panam that involved blowing his airship out of the sky. And long story short, Hellman is even dumbfounded as to what the hell's going on with the biochip in V. It creates intrigue, questions, and anxiety for what will come next. Hellman isn't necessarily a huge part in the story, but his sole purpose is to pressure you into siding with Arasaka because they can retrieve the biochip, do tests, study, and do anything they want with you. You have to understand that the biochip is their creation. They of course want it in their hands. For one, nobody else can have it. Two, so they can understand the effect that it has on the person. Saving V is the last thing on their priority list. And you can even sense this when talking to Anders Hellman. Again, this is a hint that maybe this route is not the best. They're more interested in what is in V's head rather than saving V's life. The subtlety is great, and it adds to the objective of the game. Night City can't change, but Night City changes you. The decisions you make don't have a lasting effect on the setting, but the choices you make change V drastically, and more on this later. This questline eventually leads to the famous parade mission, where you infiltrate Arasaka forces, take out Takemura's old colleague, or you can spare him, and eventually try to get into contact with Hanako. Through this quest change, you can't help but think that it all feels weird. Like, why is V doing this? Is it the best interest for V to help Takemura? Johnny questions this. You start to understand that there's a possibility that you're being used. This is especially the case when you meet up with Takemura and Hanako after the parade fiasco, and she just doesn't speak at all. But only after Arasaka forces scatter the three of you, and you're forced to flee and hide out in a shitty motel, that is when Hanako sends in a messenger to only talk to V. It all seems too coincidental and makes you think. And that is what I love about this game. You can't take anything at face value here. There's always an ulterior motive. This, I believe, leads into the main topic of the whole questline: trust. Or more so, who can you trust? Panam in the Aldecaldos questline is a special one for me, for multiple reasons. It's almost a complete opposite of what the questline with Takemura was, where that one was a question of if you should trust. This one is learning to trust the right people. An example is immediately when you first encounter Panam fixing your car. To establish trust, you each exchange favors. V helps Panam get her car back to then help V grab Anders' helmet. But even after you secure Panam's car, you're presented with another request from her, to help her take out her former business partner that betrayed her, Nash. Admittedly, if you refuse to help her, it doesn't affect the outcome of any quest or romance, but it is worth mentioning because it adds to the narrative of learning to trust one another. Not to mention, if you do help her, you get a sick-ass gun to use. I think the most important thing to mention when it comes to Panam is how natural the relationship between her and V develops. It isn't an instantaneous attraction once you do a fetch quest. It feels genuine, deep, and thought-provoking conversations take place during car rides in between objectives, simply having a beer at a bar casually flirting, Scorpion dying and just being there for her and promising to take down Kang Tao. My favorite moment is when V promises to bring back Saul from the Shiv compound in the middle of a sandstorm. When V and Panam are in the abandoned house, the two of them having their moment, the relationship between the two characters just builds naturally. You can't help but smile anytime a sweet moment happens on screen.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.
Continuing with trust, the Aldecaldos have a rocky relationship with Panam as well, more so Saul than anyone else. Panam left the Aldecaldos to chase the riches that Night City had to offer, but after finding out that Night City isn't what it seems, it comes full circle, finding herself back with the clan, butting heads. Saul has the philosophy of doing business with the corpse of Night City to do what is best for the clan. This means bringing in supplies, food, and such, but doesn't take the risk as seriously as Panam, Scorpion, Mitch, and the rest of the gang that sides with Panam and V. But experiencing the bonding that the two characters go through, as well as V and Panam, it makes the ending of the questline that much more worth it, with Saul and Panam both agreeing to dual leadership of the clan while also offering a spot for V in the family. I love this questline so much because it feeds into the question that was asked by Dexter Deshawn at the beginning of the game: the quiet life or go out with a bang? This questline shows that living the quiet life isn't a bad thing if you're spending the time left with the people you love. Overall, Panam may be my favorite character in all of Cyberpunk. The relationship between her and V grows sort of different than the rest of the other romance options. I think CDPR knew that players would have an instant attraction and possibly be the overwhelming favorite among players. Panam is headstrong and has conviction, but is also hot-headed and stubborn. She throws herself into the fire without a second thought. But that's what you like about her. She's willing to do whatever it takes to help the people she cares about. V's relationship with her isn't necessarily following the cliche path of acquaintance, friend, good friend, and then lover. It's more so acquaintance, mutual attraction, but stringing along, romantically unsure, but still close, and at the end it's a full-blown relationship with some questions. The differing nature with her compared to the other characters is what makes me connected to her questline. It feels normal, human, and very well written. Judy and Evelyn's questline goes down the very human and dark path, dealing with loss and how to overcome grief to find a new meaning in life. Judy is a character that is very headstrong with what she believes in. She's very relationship oriented and will do whatever she can to help the people she cares about. You get a taste of this when Evelyn takes you down to Judy's hideout to go over the plan for the heist. And furthermore, unfortunately, when Evelyn gets cyber attacked and abducted by the scavs, Judy is horrified and mentally drained from what had happened to her close friend. This whole scenario of finding Evelyn, taking her back to Judy's apartment, and then coming back later to see that Evelyn offed herself, it's draining. You spent so much time with these characters, so to see one you got to know within the first section of the game dead, and the other you care about deeply panicking at the fact that she witnessed this, it's awful. But it paints a picture of what life in Night City is really like, and I think that's what makes this character so great. You always see Night City through the eyes of V, a powerful merc who can fully upgrade their body with chrome and not have a side effect. But with Judy, someone who's only dabbles with BDs and tech, you get to see the horrifying and even beautiful actions that happen in Night City. the full Street Kid life. But of course, Cyberpunk 2077 has its best moments when it slows down. My favorite mission with Judy is of course the last one where you go scuba diving with Judy. But there is a unique twist. Judy can intertwine V and her emotions, memories, virtually syncing each other together. So when you go diving in Laguna Bend, her old home before it was flooded, you get to hear her memories. You hear and learn about her hobbies, her favorite diner to eat at, her living with her grandparents. It was so unique to learn more about Judy's past through the lens of this mission, rather than the all-too-used exposition dump. But the reason I love this mission, the real reason, is because at the end, Judy invited us because she wanted to say goodbye. Us playing as male V, if you haven't noticed, so going through this mission again and hearing why Judy's wanting to leave, it just makes sense. There's nothing left for her here. The city chewed her up and spat her back out. Evelyn died. Maiko also died depending on your choices. Doesn't have a huge connection to the Mox anymore. She needs something new and something healing. I get it, but that also makes this interaction sad. You started to get to know Judy in this close way. You were with her when Evelyn passed away in her arms. You were there during the big fiasco with Maiko and the Tiger Claws. But you were also there for just a simple phone call, shooting the shit. All the small and large interactions with her added up, and during that time, deep inside, you knew that she'd want to leave, for good. Judy, from a female V perspective, is the typical ladder you climb when trying to establish a relationship. As I explained with Panam about how her relationship building is more chaotic, Judy's is very typical but well executed. When you meet her, there isn't a hint that there could be attraction. It's just business along with Evelyn. Eventually, it then leads to friendship, helping Judy overcome the loss of Evelyn. Then it becomes close after the Maiko situation. Only after that does the attraction and relationship start to set in. Mostly because Judy was still in the process of getting over Maiko. She wasn't ready for a relationship prior. It's a human thing for this to occur. CDPR understands the nuances to relationship building. Every character is different. You must give your character's personality and traumas for players to become attached. Healing from your past and moving on is a huge point in Cyberpunk 2077, but it is most important in Kerry's questline. Kerry is stuck in the past with the glory days as samurai, along with Johnny and the rest of the gang, while also trying to do his best going solo in the music industry. It's obvious from the first interaction with him after breaking into his house and Johnny playing his guitar. Kerry then after goes right to memory lane, going through the band's gigs and memories. He even pitches the idea that they should bring the gang back together for one last gig. You then help out Nancy with her little thing going on with Maelstrom, go to Denny's mansion to witness a humorous exchange with the band members, and Nancy promises to set everything in place for the gig to happen. And during this gig, you can just tell that Kerry is happy to be where he belongs, with his people instead of flying solo. This is one of the most important and unique missions I've ever played because of the emotion it brings. The music in this game is just so good that you can't help but headbang during the concert, and with the emotional baggage behind it. You can't help but smile and be happy for Kerry and Johnny. They get to experience what they had lost, and to put the cherry on top, Johnny decides to gift his old guitar to Kerry, a way of saying goodbye to the old days, letting Kerry know that it's time to put the past behind him and pave a new way forward. It was a beautiful gesture by Johnny that we will for sure get to later. Then it becomes V's turn to help Kerry navigate his place in the world, and it starts with the Us Cracks debacle of trying to sabotage their gig for them not to gain profit off the song Kerry made. But after the fact, Kerry gives a little info dump. He explains that he never felt this way before other than Samurai's last tour they went on, further feeding into the idea that Kerry has a hard time letting go of what once was. It's sad but also understandable. Everyone you've known has either died or left and did something else without you. Kerry feels isolated and not cared for, taken advantage of by his label, and his family left him. The only thing that made him happy was Samurai, and he misses Johnny. But the best part is when Kerry and Us Cracks come to an understanding after finding out that this thing happened because of their manager without their permission. This is the start of Kerry changing into a better person in a way. Kerry opens up about feeling like being in a shadow again, just like he was with Johnny, which led him to leave Samurai even though that's what he loved doing. But to prove that he can make it on his own, he left, which is understandable. In a city like Night City, this is the one thing that you can do to prove to yourself, but it would also eat you alive. which is what it was doing to Kerry before we got involved. But after helping him through all his troubles, you realize that he could do it. He's been doing it already. But also, you can't be afraid to ask for some help every once in a while, which I believe is what the game has been telling us all along. And with that, we see Kerry on a boat with a guitar, and he sums up this questline perfectly.
Johnny, with you battling shadows?
Nah. Well, maybe a bit. Because, you know, managed well without him. Built my career. Made my fortune. Me. But damn it, no matter how hard I try, I can't forget him. Yeah. I'd rip him out of my head if I fucking could.
I think I know the feeling.
This is why I love Cyberpunk so much. The character interactions all feel so human, helping these characters through their mental struggles and then seeing them come out the other side stronger in a city that does the opposite. It makes you feel something. And it's all made better with Kerry strumming his guitar while you and Johnny relax, looking at the distant city. What I like about Kerry is the fact that this story is directly tied to Johnny. It must be. After Johnny left, Kerry felt the need to prove to everybody that he can make it in Night City on his own, getting a wife and kids, being a successful solo musician, and living the wealthy life. But it was an excuse to fill the void of his former friend. It was V who helped Kerry get over the hill and understand that just because Johnny's gone doesn't mean he needs to be afraid. He can survive on his own. He has been surviving on his own, but now it's time to do it in his own way instead of the shadow of his former bandmate. River Ward is a very kind and protective character with lots of conviction, but players seem to deem him the worst out of all the romance options, which is understandable. But it is still the case that the quests tied with him are very deep and even disturbing in a good way. You first meet River Ward after getting a call and meeting with the Perales family, investigating the murder of Lucius Rhine and who was behind it. At the beginning, River and V are standoffish, I'd say. V isn't necessarily that trusting of corpos and cops who are bought by those said corpos, but after investigating leads with River and eventually going to the nightclub where Rhine was murdered, V realizes that River is different from the other cops. He's good, honest, which is dangerous for him in Night City. This escalates when he further investigates the murder, which leads to him getting dismissed from NCPD. But the relationship between River and V escalates when we find out that his nephew is missing and in danger. This leads to maybe one of the more memorable quests because of how disturbing it is. His nephew was kidnapped and manipulated by someone who owned a farm for the purpose of drugging people and testing on them. This farm was previously owned by this individual's father, who was abusive, as we can see in a brain dance we experience along with River. Of course, with River, we go into the farm, save his nephew along with other kids, and then later have dinner with his family. But the deeper message here is that family and those we love, if you hold things like that close and keep them at a high priority, Night City won't have a hold on you. I believe this quest was a little nudge to the player on letting them know what the right decision would be later in the game. If you are surrounded by those you love and care for, nothing else matters. Being a merc, being known, being a legend, becomes mute at that point. This point becomes especially important when you talk River out of ending Anthony, which was the kidnapper, for good at the hospital. Let him know that this man is already defeated. What would be the point in going further? It would only harm River. The important thing you have to remind him is that Randy's safe and his family is finally whole. His sister's no longer worried, and River doesn't have to be constantly paranoid about what actually happened to Randy. Although River's romance was underwhelming and maybe not the best for V as a character, the point of River in the first place was to remind the player of what their priorities should be. You are in a race against time and against death. You are doing what you can to survive. Instead of doing what benefits V, you're instead helping others. You're bringing a family together. You are there to help heal a cop who feels helpless trying to gain the support of his department. You are shown that even though Night City is a dumpster fire of a city whose only goal is to swallow you whole and spit you out, there are some people out there who are normal, who aren't self-serving. I guess this goes for all the major side characters you meet, not just River, but he's one of the more memorable ones. Reckless, terrorist, sociopath, martyr, Johnny has been labeled lots of things in Cyberpunk. The beauty of this game is through its span, you get the understanding of this rocker boy underneath the surface. After the heist on Kopecki Plaza goes wrong, Johnny shows up for the first time to a not so welcome surprise, wanting V to die so he can take control of their body and have a second chance at life and finally get the revenge on Arasaka that he has been desperately craving. But what makes his character interesting is the fact that he's likable, yet unreliable. Everything he says has you questioning whether he's being honest with you or not. Johnny has a skewed viewpoint on past events that transpired, whether that be from trauma, the relic itself, Arasaka's meddling, or maybe he's just lying. We don't have a definitive answer to why he lies about these events or why his memory says different, but the most widely accepted answer is all the above. From Johnny's perspective, we learn who Alt is, learn about the relationship he has with Rogue, his vendetta against Arasaka, and his relationship with Samurai. Johnny claims via his memories that after a Samurai concert in 2013, Alt and Johnny had a reunion. Johnny's memories show us that Alt was abducted by Arasaka as a means to get back at Johnny for rebelling against them. 4 armed men attacked Johnny and he's left to death if it wasn't for a certain media guy named Thompson saving him out in the street. These memories aren't exactly what happened. Arasaka was sent to grab Alt because she was known as the best net runner in all of Night City. Johnny had nothing to do with this. He was only a casualty because he was in the way of Alt. We also see that Johnny went to save Alt in 2013 shortly after this incident, storming Arasaka with Rogue and Santiago Aldecaldo. We witnessed Johnny frantically take the jack out of Alt's head. Johnny thought nothing of this and assumed Alt was already dead. Alt had the ability to return to her body from the net. She had the necessary tools to free herself, but because of Johnny's actions, Alt died before she could return to her body, or more likely she was lost to the net. He caused this, not Arasaka. His memories of beating the shit out of Thompson were false as well. Years imprisoned in a chip can do things to you. Johnny possibly relived the scenario countless times in his mind. He knew he killed Alt accidentally. So through the years, he came up with excuses to take the blame away from himself. The beatdown of Thompson could be just him releasing his emotions over time to the point where he now believes that this is reality. Or maybe Arasaka programmed those false memories onto the chip for whatever reason. There could be countless answers, we just don't know. Johnny's memories also tell us in 2023, he was the main driver in the nuking of Arasaka Tower with Rogue, Spider Murphy, Shaden, and Thompson. He was the one that fought and came up with the idea, fought Atom Smasher and died, then got captured by Arasaka to then get his consciousness extracted into Soul Killer. This didn't happen either. There were 3 total strike teams. Johnny was the 3rd, whose sole purpose was to be a distraction. The actual driver behind the op was none other than Militech and Morgan Blackhand. Blackhand was the rival of Atom Smasher, not Johnny. And to tell the truth, Atom Smasher thought Johnny of nothing less than just a random dude. As you can see from these examples, Johnny is an unreliable narrator. It is the player's choice to believe him or turn the other cheek. But Johnny's actions are a direct result of what V says, does, and thinks. If you're a complete asshole to Johnny, he will be an asshole back, creating an even more unreliable character. But if you're nice and kind to Johnny, he will open up to you, and he may change as a character. When you first meet Johnny, without sugarcoating, he sucks. He belittles you, talks too much, gives unhelpful dialogue, but over time, you start to have a mutual understanding. There's a famous moment with Johnny where you have a realization that Johnny has a point, that Johnny isn't so different from V.
I'll tell you why I want to destroy Arasaka, but I'll only tell you once. Want to hear it?
All right.
I saw a corpse strip farmers of water, and eventually of land. Saw them transform Night City into a machine fueled by people's crushed spirits, broken dreams, and empty pockets. Corps have long controlled our lives, taken lots, and now they're after our souls.
Might be right. Can't really argue with you there.
V, I've declared war not because capitalism's a thorn in my side or out of nostalgia for an America gone by. This war's a people's war against a system that spiraled out of our control. It's a war against the fucking forces of entropy. Understand? Do whatever it takes to stop them, defeat them, gut them. If I gotta kill, I'll kill. If I need your body, I'll fucking take it. Fucking hell. You still don't see it, but you will one day.
Johnny may be a dickhead, but you can see the reason why. The corporations in Night City took from him, and they kept on taking. They took Alt, then they took his soul. At this moment, V realizes the cause of all of this, Arasaka. They are the real enemy, and you must do whatever it takes to stop them. That means making your way to Mikoshi. Shortly after, you try to get information on Atom Smasher with Rogue. We're told that Johnny is forgotten, doesn't even have a grave, dumped at a landfill, just like V. V and Johnny ride their way to the landfill, and there, Johnny will fully open up, stating that he realizes that he fucked up.
What would you write? Here lies Johnny Silverhand.
The guy who saved my life.
V, you don't know how much I want that to be true. Listen, I realize I fucked up a lot of things. Either let down or used every last person who gave me their trust. Blind, selfish bastard that I was. But I've managed one thing for now. Not to fuck this up, what we have.
He realizes that his actions have hurt those around him. And if you choose certain dialogue options, you can tell him that he fucked up his relationship with you as well. But he's earned a second chance to make things right. From here, Johnny's relationship with V, Rogue, Kerry, it changes. He does what he can to leave a legacy for those closest to him. A legend in a different kind of way. Johnny chooses to take Rogue on a date to let her know that he genuinely cares about her, even if it may be 50 plus years too late. He tries to tie up loose ends with Kerry, doing one last gig with Samurai and then saying goodbye, giving him his old guitar. And with her help, let Kerry know that he doesn't have to live in Johnny's shadow. Johnny genuinely changes. His character change was real. It wasn't artificial where all of a sudden he changes personalities and becomes a total sweetheart. Most games do that, and it feels fake. Here, Johnny is still Johnny. He's still an asshole sometimes. He still says shit that will get on your nerves. And he'll say one-liners that are out of the blue. His character change happens with his actions. This brings us to V. V has 3 rats to go down and eventually must make a decision. Through the game, V has forged a relationship with Panam and the Aldecaldos. V has saved the clan and its people countless times, including Panam. V has helped them out of sticky situations, but most importantly, you brought Panam and Saul closer together, making the family stronger. Saul and Panam now have a dual leadership and have vowed to help you no matter what. V's also strengthened the bond between Johnny, Rogue, and themselves. V let Johnny know that he has fucked up with his relationship with everyone he's ever been around, using them for his own selfish reasons. But because of that, Johnny realized that he still has time to make things right. He tried to rekindle the relationship with Rogue. Even though it didn't end the way he wanted, he still got that final chance. He and V helped Kerry realize that he doesn't have to live in Johnny's shadow anymore. He can live his own life and succeed. He can find his own way. And lastly, V has spent time with Takemura and opened an avenue with Hanako Arasaka, potentially helping you with the chip, going directly to the source to solve your problems, even if it goes against Johnny's wishes. After another near-death experience, V finds himself at Vic's clinic, back at the start again. Vic tells V that it's time to decide. Otherwise, V won't have the choice later. It will just be death. Missy takes V to the roof, the same place she took Jackie when he was at a crossroads. We make our decision here with Johnny. An option that is presented to you separate of the main 3 is just taking the easy way out. You don't have to involve anyone else. It's simple, and it gets the job done. No more headache, no more hardship, just silence. When V decides on this option, we get one final word with Johnny.
Been through to get this far.
Sure do.
To let it all go now. Why?
Cleanest, least bloody option. We try anything else, people will die.
People die. It's the way of things.
Am I worth their sacrifice? Are you? Besides, it's the only way we'll both be aware.
Of what? Death?
Mm-hmm. The moment life escapes.
Never really gave it a thought. Funny how you still manage to surprise me sometimes.
Might be something I learned from you.
V, you sure about this?
As long as you got nothing against it.
Not how I'd have done it. But that's all right.
Just like that. No pushback.
Huh. Might have learned a little something from you too.
He gives pushback, but ultimately understands. There are no sacrifices in this. No one dies, no one gets hurt, no one gets involved. V ends it on their own terms. V and Johnny are both aware for it. Camera pans out, and then a gunshot.
Been nice working with you, V.
Yeah. With you too, Johnny.
Shortly after, you then start to understand where you went wrong. Even though it may have been the least bloody option, the one with the least risk, you still left pieces of yourself with everyone else. A piece that shattered when you chose the easy way out. You didn't take the time to consider what it might do to the friends you made along the way. The friends that were willing to help, no matter what. You fell into the trap of Night City. It may have been easy for V to make this decision, but how easy will it be for those close friends to deal with the decision they made? When the credits roll, we get to see the aftermath, and it's not an easy watch.
Worse than before. Just wish I had done more, so things might have come out different.
Positive energy, Victor.
We're gonna miss you, kid.
Señor Todopoderoso, escucha tu humilde servidora, que obra siempre en tu gracia. Lord Almighty, lend thy ear to your humble servant, who serves forever in thy grace. Recibe en la luz calidad de tu reino a ti, a quien llamaste a tu lado, y deja este mundo perverso. And bring unto your land of peaceful light, the one whom you bid to depart from this cruel world, V. Y acéptala en compañía de tus santos. Amén. May you rest in peace, V. Hey, V. I was thinking about you the other day, and I thought I'd just give you a call. I know it's pointless, but once upon a time, people were talking to graves and nobody batted an eyelid, right? When I said I was thinking about you, I meant a lot. About everything you did. And I guess I get it. Why you wanted to leave this place once and for all. But still, V. Did you even think about, what happens when... Shit, I can't do this. Hey, V. Just wanted to tell you, I really hope there is an afterlife. Wanna know why? Because that means one day we'll see each other again. And I'm gonna make you wish you never met me. What were you thinking, huh? Or did you think about nothing at all? Is that it? And after everything I did for you, everything! And what's the first thing you go do, huh? Off yourself, that's what. If there is a hell, I hope you're in it. Rotting, burning, all of it. Bob.
V. I heard what happened. You thought this would solve everything, didn't you? That this would adequately convey what you thought of this shitty world, huh? That's something that always pissed me off, you know? This whole romanticizing suicide bullshit. Like we're all Romeo and Juliet. 'Cause you're so fucking original, aren't you? The only thing you proved is that you don't give a fuck about your friends. Am I right? What a fucking waste. Suicide, huh? Well, guess it wasn't that far-fetched. At least, that's how half the people in Night City end up anyway. Especially the good ones. Jamie Sheen, my first partner back on the Force, blew his brains out. Didn't leave a note or anything. I knew it was because of how the top brass were handling things. Of course, not like it changed much. Except the fact we were down one more decent batch. Anyway, hope you're in a better place, V.
Hey, V. Don't think you'll ever listen to this message, but there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in my philosophy, right? I mean, in the end, it was your choice. Your choice to make. But, well, you should know it didn't just affect you. It hit your friends, too. I don't think you knew just how many friends you really had. Maybe we'll see each other again, V. You, me, Jackie. Until then, take care.
If V chose to take the route with Hanako and Arasaka, Johnny warns you about what this means and questions whether you know what you're doing. As a matter of fact, after you have made your choice, you get a handful of warnings. After you make your choice in any ending, Misty asks if you want a tarot reading, and depending on what choice you made, the cards change to reflect that. In this instance, Misty pulls out the Fool, the card that represents the start of a journey, signifying V. Next card is the Magician reversed. This is Johnny. It means addiction, mental instability, and etc. Those cards will always stay the same no matter what choice you make because that is V and Johnny. Misty will then pull out 2 more cards, and if you chose Hanako and Arasaka as a means of saving your life, Misty draws the Devil card reversed. This is warning number 2. It means evil, power struggle, losing control. The last card is the Moon. It means mystery for Johnny, and this card will also not change depending on your choice. But as soon as Arasaka pulls up, Misty is startled that V even thought of asking them for help. They kill Jackie, and this is warning number 3. And at this point, the player should understand that they made the wrong choice. You made a deal with the devil, and Misty tells V that they changed for the worse. You betrayed a friend. After your fulfilling of favors for Arasaka, V passes out and you have a conversation with Johnny. He says exactly this: you not only betrayed a friend, you betrayed yourself. Throughout the game, you have been told countless times through the dialogue of V, Johnny, and other characters that you should never trust a corpo. It makes perfect sense that Johnny would throw that back in your face. And honestly, this conversation is just hard to watch. You've spent countless hours with this character, and you just hear the disappointment and hurt in Johnny's voice. It's awful.
Remember what Dex asked you? Quiet life or blaze of glory?
Sure, I remember.
Shame you chose wrong. Damn shame.
V finds himself aboard an Arasaka space station going through tests after the surgery. What I love about this ending is that it feels like a Black Mirror episode. The tests happen over and over and over again. The same tests every single day. V goes insane and you hear remnants of Johnny's voice haunting their mind. You can tell that regret starts to set in. Eventually, you'll then see news break about how none other than Saburo Arasaka has taken over his son's body through an engram. During the ending, V encounters Yorinobu. Yorinobu killed his father and took over Arasaka to make it crumble. He was aware of what his father was doing and was disgusted by it. Through the selfish act of helping Arasaka, V also screwed over the people of Night City and beyond. The tests continue until eventually open a Rubik's Cube to see the devil. This is the moment the player sulks in their guilt. They made the wrong choice. Takemura or Hellman will eventually come to visit only to let you know the surgery did absolutely nothing. You have only 6 months left to live. And if V signs their life away, they're stored in Mikoshi for the hopes of a day where V can be reborn. But remember, it is a prison of souls. Either that or V heads back down to Earth with the guilt on their conscience. Panam, Kerry, River, Judy, they moved on. They either have resentment or they just don't want to talk to V. V doesn't have Johnny anymore. V's alone. It's bleak and it sucks. V chose the option that was the easiest and it got them nowhere. It's sort of a punishment for just sticking with the main quest and not exploring different options. Or it's a punishment for being naive. It's a fitting end. Temperance is an interesting one because this ending can be reached through multiple scenarios if V chooses to give up their body to Johnny. For the sake of simplicity, I'm referring to the ending where Rogue, Johnny, and crew storm Arasaka Tower as the Temperance ending. For headcanon at least, it makes the most sense. Essentially, this is you giving Johnny one last time with Rogue. They fly in, stir up some trouble, track into Mikoshi, then get out. One thing I absolutely love here is the fact that if Johnny was nice to Alt in the flashbacks, he has the chance to apologize to Alt. Although her response isn't exactly uplifting, it's sincere. Alt as she is now is simply a super advanced AI. Literal code. But after her response, there's still a sliver of humanity left. And with that humanity, she understood that Johnny has finally changed. It doesn't give you a smile on your face necessarily, but it does make you feel better because Johnny has closure. But the closure only sits for so long. Because Johnny asked for Rogue's help, Rogue dies by the hand of Smasher. That is the theme of Night City. If you want something, the city asks for something in return. Johnny reflecting on Rogue's death is a stark difference from when Alt died. It's more solemn, sad. I think it reflects Johnny's change. When Alt died, it was anger. Here, it's respect or a sense of responsibility. The game always finds a way to throw themes at your face or reminders, and it works beautifully. And when you must decide who gets V's body, it's heartbreaking. Even knowing what I was going to choose for the footage, the choice was hard. I had to pause the game, take a breather, understand why I'm choosing this, and then went ahead. It's just one of those lose-lose situations. It will feel wrong no matter what you pick. There was a time after a mission where Johnny drags you into this rundown apartment in Pacifica, one of those character-defining moments. This entire time, Johnny was an asshole. It was funny and fun to be around, but he was a manipulator, but also insightful. But at this moment, a choice was presented to V. Would V take a bullet for Johnny?
Would you take a bullet for me?
I would. Yeah.
Tags belong to a man who sacrificed his life for mine in Mexico. Been thinking about our predicament. Want to be clear. I will do you no wrong. When the time comes, it'll be my life for yours. I'll agree to get wiped. Tags are proof of my promise.
Remember what I told you when we talked at the Pistis Sophia?
Yeah. Said you'd take a bullet for me.
Yeah. And I haven't changed my mind. But this bullet's aimed my way. So I just gotta make sure I don't drag you down into the grave with me. Johnny.
Don't make this any harder, eh? Just don't forget I came round.
Now it's on to living with the decision you made. All of V's friends, Mama Wells, Panam, Victor, Misty, they're all worried. Panam angry because she knows Johnny took over his body. But Johnny gets a new lease on life. This epilogue shows us the change in Johnny, befriending a boy that used to be like him. Poor surroundings, the hate for corpos, and the love for music. He has this kid drive him around while giving advice, takes him to the guitar store, then eventually to the columbarium to pay his respects, to Rogue and to V. It's fucking sad. After the sacrifice V and Rogue made, all for Johnny, you can see that it weighs heavy on him, obsessing over it, and it makes sense that Johnny would have to leave Night City for good. Nothing but pain and suffering happened for him in that city. It was time for him to move on. And I think that is what makes this ending so special. It isn't sunshine and rainbows. You spend so much time with V and Johnny, so seeing one of them go, it's like losing someone close to you. It becomes hard to move on, just like it was hard for Johnny. He lost a part of himself.
Stop the bus! Hey! Get off! Wait! The guitar! You forgot your guitar!
No, I didn't. Haven't forgotten a thing. Never will.
But there is another option that you can pick. On top of the roof, where Johnny and V mull over their options, you wait just a little bit. Johnny will pitch an idea, a suicide run. No Panam, no Rogue, no Aldecaldos, just you, Johnny, and some iron. You walk right through Arasaka's front door and become a legend.
Kinda tough deciding which of your friends get to die, isn't it? Good news is you got this one chum who's already dead. And he'd be honored to join you on a wild suicide run. You, me, and Arasaka Tower. Kinda sounds like a Eurodyne lyric, I know, but trust me, we'll go fucking Nova.
This plan, what would it entail, exactly?
Plan? Well, might be how Rogue operates. I say you grab the hottest iron you can find, stride in the tower's front door, and cut your own path down to the lower levels. If Mikoshi's deep underground like Hanako claims it is, you'll just have to find the elevator.
If I gotta die, rather fall into my grave, gun in hand and on fire, and not drag anyone down with me.
Huh. You just discovered what it takes to become a legend. Grab your iron. Let's mobilize. Time to party like it's 2023.
Johnny Silverhand sends his regards.
This time, instead of being in Johnny's point of view, V is controlling their own body. Things play out the same, getting into Mikoshi, all breaking the bad news, and then making the decision. The conversation is still heartbreaking no matter who controls V's body. You're losing a best friend, and I think that's what makes this conclusion so great. Any decision V makes is fucked. Since V chose to live out their days instead of Johnny, V reaps the rewards of taking down Arasaka. V has a giant mansion and becomes a Night City legend, but what was the cost? Sure, no one got hurt. Rogue's still here, V's super rich, but when you talk to Panam and she mentions how she can't stand Night City and wants to leave, with V pushing back saying one last job, it hurts because you had this thought in your mind. You will be a Night City legend. You will be at the top, but what happens after you reach the top? What is the goal then? Are you really happy? Panam leaves V. There's no hard feelings, but you can't shake the feeling that you're now a slave to Night City. V can't get out anymore. V strikes a deal with Mr. Blue Eyes and Night Corp to take on the heist at the Crystal Palace with the promise of riches beyond your comprehension. The game asks the player, was this choice worth it? Yes, you're a king of Night City, but in the process, your friends left. Only Kerry and River remain. Judy and Panam had enough. The thing that keeps me coming back to this game is the fact that it keeps asking questions even after you finish the game. Questions you don't have the answer to. If you choose to call Panam, she'll pick up V at Misty's in a heartbeat. She cares about V, no questions asked. Even when you tell her you have to break into Arasaka and jack into Mikoshi, she agrees. Not even a pushback. It's a testament to how much she cares. She and the Nomads are willing to risk their lives only for a slight chance for V to survive. And what I love is when Misty does her tarot reading, she pulls the Fool, the Magician, and the Lovers. Fortunately, Misty doesn't give a disturbing, unsettling summarization of how bad the cards we had were. Instead, she cracks a joke at the Lovers card about if we'd been keeping something from her, insinuating V's love interest either being Panam or Judy, or maybe just the Aldecaldos in general. It's nice to have a change of pace just for a brief second. Cracking a joke, reflecting on the friends we made along the way. Adding on to this, when talking to Saul and Panam, he's willing to help, no questions asked. And in his words,
then all of a sudden the outsider's presence is noticed, and the family members shake hands, join hands, become stronger than they were before. Understand?
Yeah. At least I think so.
Good. So now you can tell me what
it makes sense. You worded it well. We helped with almost every single problem that Aldecaldos had, and we never asked any questions. We did anything we could to help Panam and the family out. We even saved Saul's life, and it wasn't even directly said to V, it was insinuated, which I love. The characters know it, the players know it. Nothing else needs to be said, but a surprise is given to V. Saul tells us to hop on top of the truck. Through our actions, we officially become part of the family
here
in Aldecaldo.
Owe you, and it's a great debt.
Speak for yourself, Saul.
But in spite of that, you're still an outsider. A mercenary from Night City, from what might as well be another world.
Hey, ask Panam. She knows.
So it's about time we fix that.
A downright injustice it is. It needs fixing.
You're gonna be an Aldecaldo, which means this family will go to hell and back for you. Ready, kid?
Fuck me, Saul. Brought me to the brink of a heart attack. Do your worst.
You're one of us now, B. You're an Aldecaldo, damn it.
Great to
Thanks
have
for
you
everything,
with us,
V, and don't worry. We'll get you into that Mikoshi. Isn't that the way of it?
Welcome to the family. A warm welcome for our newest Aldecaldo!
Welcome to the clan!
Jacket's incredible.
See? He likes it.
Listen, as soon as we're back from Mikoshi, we'll celebrate. And I know just a place. My treat, of course.
We'll hold you to that.
Don't worry, it's but a formality. You've been a de facto member of this family for a while now. You saved my rumpus, and as Bobby tells it, Mitch's too. I won't even mention Panam.
Go to hell. Saul's right, though. I mean, let's face it, V. My life was in a million pieces. You broke it into a million more.
Through the game, V has gotten to know the family very well. From just meeting Panam and helping her get her car back, to shooting down an AV from the sky and saving Mitch's hide, giving Scorpion a hell of a send-off, saving Saul's ass and having a wonderful night with Panam, stealing a fucking tank from Militech, sitting under the stars with Panam under our arm. It was only a matter of time. It just feels good. V has grown to care about these people. It isn't about becoming a Night City legend anymore. It's about protecting those you care about and spending the time left with those you love most. The plan goes like this. Go through loads of soldiers and break into a sort of secret access point into Arasaka. We get in there with the tank V and the gang stole earlier. Unfortunately, some clan members die, just like Johnny warned us about. Sacrifice. Inside Arasaka, things play out mostly the same, but this time instead of Rogue dying by the hands of Smasher, it's Saul. And this one sucked as well. He did everything he could to help V, and in return he died. Night City always takes. It's a reoccurring theme that's shoved into the player's mind time and time again. It stays with you, especially when you were warned of what might happen by Johnny. V straight up saying it, and then it becomes a reality. And inside Mikoshi, Johnny understands why we chose to stay under our body. He knew all along this is how it would play out, and he's fine with it. Hearing the pain in V's voice, trying to cope with the loss of a close friend, piece of himself. And Johnny's calm. He's staying strong because this is what V taught him. And in the end, he gives us a party message. Never stop fighting.
Goodbye, V. And never stop fighting.
And with one last look at Night City, V and Panam go their way. With this, we admit that Night City chewed us up and spit us out. The difference is, we don't care this time. We took this as another chance to start fresh, somewhere new with the people we love instead of going down in a blaze of glory and fortune. We chose the quiet life, spending the next 6 months with our loved ones. And with one last tank ride across the border, V takes one last look at the bullet Misty gave him and tosses it away. It doesn't matter anymore. It has no weight, throwing the last thing away that ties you to Night City. V and Panam live the rest of their days somewhere different, hoping for the best.
Well?
It's perfect. All great, Panam. We're going home.
What I love about all the endings in Cyberpunk is that there are no happy endings. There's always sacrifice or consequence involved. You can take the easy way out, drown out all the noise, and forget about the city for good. It was never a good place to be anyway. No bloodshed involved, but you're only shifting that burden on the people who care for you. You may be ending things on your terms, but what about the people you met along the way? Panam's grieving through anger. She can't forgive what V did. Judy, after losing Evelyn, has to deal with the same thing again, losing V. Misty says it best, you didn't realize how many friends you really had. With the devil ending, you trusted what everyone else said not to. Didn't have faith in those around you and instead took the easy way. It is fitting that this ending is only unlockable through the main quest, and the consequence of that being V isn't saved at all. You have the option of giving up V's soul or living out V's days in regret. The game was telling you from the start to not trust the promises of corporations, and you didn't take the hint. This is why this ending is regarded as the worst. There is no silver lining here. V is fucked no matter what, but that's what makes this ending beautiful. It doesn't pull a punch. It fits in with the statement of Night City not having happy endings. It's also a punishment for not playing the game more. Temperance is just hard to judge. On one hand, V gave Johnny a new lease on life as a changed man. He is forever grateful of V and will never forget them. It's very poetic. Along with the sacrifice of Rogue, it's almost like Johnny got the ending he wanted, but at what cost? And V, we don't know. He's integrated with Alt. We'd like to believe V has a new life ahead of him beyond the Black Wall, but from what Misty tells us, that isn't the case.
Sorry to bother you. I know you're a busy man and everything. But, well, I was wondering how you were doing, so I laid out a quick tarot and... oh dear. The Hanged Man, the Magician, the Star. Those are not good cards, V. They're really bad. There's something like death, but not quite. Take care of yourself, okay? I hope to hear from you soon.
Dead, but not quite. Something worse. It's very ominous and it gives you a pit in your stomach. Did you make the right choice? Was the sacrifice worth it? Don't Fear the Reaper is your Night City legend ending. Taking on Arasaka alone and living to tell the tale. Reaping the rewards. Big mansion. Tons of money. The afterlife loves you. Bunch of gigs lined up. V finally made it to the top. For Jackie and for Johnny. But once you get to the top, what's next? You have nothing else to strive for. V still has 6 months left to live. And if V romanced either Panam or Judy, they leave Night City with or without you. They're unhappy. They don't understand why you need this last job. Because what's next? What is V still chasing? The game asks the question, yes, you made it to the top, finally, but why? What was the reason? Was it to prove yourself? Was it to prove it to Jackie? Is this what really makes you happy? And with the Star, my personal favorite ending, is V realizing that Night City just isn't worth it. It took so much from V, and what's most important is those closest to you, those that care about you, but not without sacrifice. People died so that you can live, or alternatively, so you have a chance of living. It isn't a guarantee. You still have 6 months. Those lives weigh heavy on you, but because of that sacrifice, you live out the rest of your days with those you love, out in Arizona in the desert with no corpos down your throat. V is free, finally free, but again, was that sacrifice worth it? In other words, the game asks you questions and has you think about your actions. Was your decision worth it? Are you willing to deal with the consequence? The game doesn't tell you which ending is bad and which ending is good. You decide that for yourself, and that's what I love. Cyberpunk 2077 absolutely nailed its endings, and I don't think the game would be the same without them. Let's say if the game had a linear ending, where it ended only in one way, we wouldn't be having these conversations for what it is in 5, 4 years now. The philosophical questions are what have people coming back, what makes Cyberpunk. So, in the end, what was this video about? Why did we spend this amount of time going through Cyberpunk? Well, it's because it's changed me. And only a handful of video games have done that to me. And the reason is because it leaves you with a message. Red Dead Redemption 2 taught me that no matter how much regret you feel, there is always a path forward, a path to be a better man. The Last of Us taught me that even with a world that goes to shit, love remains, and it's what keeps us fighting. Cyberpunk? Well, Cyberpunk taught me the importance of choosing your own path and knowing what's important to you. And it asked the question of if you're willing to deal with the consequences of your actions. Dex asked a question, quiet life or blaze of glory? For me, I want a quiet life. Night City wasn't a place that trapped me as a player. Through the game, its quests, and stories, I learned what Night City really does to people that live there. For me, I would rather live the rest of my days surrounded by loved ones than reap the rewards that the latter can bring you. All I need for me to be happy is my friends, my family, and without them, I don't know where I'd be. Cyberpunk 2077 gave me clarity. It helped me realize the importance of life. It helped me realize what being gone would do to people, and how me being present would help. It's the realization of how important your life really is. The realization of how many friends, family you really have. Things can be tough, but with conviction and belief, in the end, you will be where you want to be. But you can't get there without the help of those closest to you. Cyberpunk 2077 changed my life. It is one of those games where I wish I could play it all over again for the first time, memory wiped. It truly is an experience like no other. CD Projekt Red, thank you for making a masterpiece of a game. It was an unforgettable experience that will hold close to my heart. And with that, see you later, Night City. Until next time.